Yo! What is going on, ladies and gerbils? Here we are. This is another edition of Cleanpin, a wrestling videocast podcast, and where we talk about, well, you guessed it, wrestling. We talk about news, rumors, any comings and goings of the past week in the world of wrestling. And Cleanpin, we're on episode 18, and I hope everyone is doing wonderful. Where's Matt Hardy going, by the way, right? So a lot of things to get into, kind of that throughout the week on this channel. Hadn't had a chance to describe, to get into, and I beg you, I implore you to hit that like button, hit that bell. It does help me out. And yeah, I mean, what can you say? Where do we begin in the world of wrestling in the past week? Jericho loses his championship to Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley right now is now the youngest AEW World's Champion. Like that humor, right? How about Justin Roberts just being all into Jon Moxley, right? How does he do that intro for Jon Moxley? And you, all elite wrestling champion, Jon Moxley. That was pretty good, right? Jon Moxley, new world's champion. And I'll tell you what, Jon Moxley is better, way more over, I think, safe to say, than the Lunatic Fringe was in the WWE. It's two different characters, two different persons. I feel, with the, again, these people do not know how to drive. With the Lunatic Fringe, you often wondered, why exactly was he a lunatic? What made him a lunatic? Why is he the Lunatic Fringe? Well, Jon Moxley over here, he's the guy that's by himself. Needs no friends, needs no allies. Well, he might need to get some friends or allies. Maybe Darby Allin is his friend or ally. Because it's going to be an uphill battle for Mr. Jon Moxley here, trying to he has to have eyes behind his back, because the inner circle chasing Jon Moxley is not a good thing for Mr. Moxley at all. With Moxley being your new heavyweight champion now, I feel more confident with him carrying the belt than I would, say, a Dean Ambrose if he was in AEW. And make no mistake about it, Chris Jericho was needed to be the first world's champion. He has the name recognition, the crossover on all different types of media. His influence on social media is huge, and he has an influence. He helped put AEW on the map. I think Jon Moxley will be fine as champion, right? Because it's definitely about the promo, but less is better sometimes. Gotta protect him, make sure he doesn't just don't give him the mic for too long. Keep it simple, stupid, is the expression that I would use that would apply to this. Just keep it simple. Make no mistake about it, though. Okay, and I think it was evident by this past week's AEW Dynamite that AEW, I think, still needs Jericho. Still needs Jericho. Now, he might not be at every Dynamite from here on out, being that his band Fozzy is touring, so he might not be in every weekly episode. But I think he'll be here for a good number of them. Remember, when Fozzy went on concert last time on tour, people thought that Jericho would leave. He didn't. So I don't think, this time around, I don't think he will be absent from AEW either. AEW has done a good job as far as kind of before, in the beginning, they were rushing storylines. Now they kind of seem to have slowed things down, right? So I like how they're expanding on the storylines, drawing them out, but they're building. They're building on that star power, and right now, you need Jericho because you really don't have that much star power where fans would tune in week in and week out. So Jericho is needed. And this guy's over it, and what he could do to help elevate other talents speaks for itself. Look at Sammy Guevara, right? Since he's since he's been under Jericho's wing, from when he started to where we are now, his stock has definitely gone up. And that's something that is so valuable when you have a guy like Jericho on the roster. It's kind of cringe, though. It's kind of weird, though, too, right? And that first opening segment of this past week's Dynamite, when you had Moxley come out. Moxley comes out to a huge ovation. Fans are pumped to have Moxley as their champion. And then out comes Jericho, who is like supposed to be this hated guy, but it's like the fans refuse to hate him. And you have all these men, all these, like, smarks, singing Jericho's theme. I mean, they're singing it word for word, the whole song. This is a damn hated heel. You just have your new champion, Jon Moxley. And here you are singing this evil, dirty heels theme song. It's kind of like borderline weird and cringe at the same time. That is a catchy song, and Judas ain't it, though, right? So Jericho is invaluable. What he did with that title reign speaks volumes. Speak volumes, and you could say that what Jericho's reign has helped AEW be on top of the ratings. You could definitely make the case for that. People tune in, tune out. You know, maybe that's the only name they knew in Jericho, and Jericho has kept their interest. He's someone that is able to reinvent himself. Truly one of the GOATs. Another wrestler that gets constantly bashed and does not get any credit at all. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. It makes me scratch my head. Excuse me. Brock Lesnar, this past Monday night, did you see the thing of beauty that Brock Lesnar did? People act like he, again, I've said this before and I'll say it again, I'm a Brock Lesnar defender. You know, but Brock Lesnar comes in, you know, he gets a paycheck, he does what he's asked to, and he leaves. He's not the one that made the contract. WWE is. Do you expect him to come extra days that he's not getting paid for? No. Would you come for extra days that you're not paid for? Oh, well, he's part-time. When he is there, it is meaningful. So, of his limited appearances, you do get meaningful appearances. Meaningful appearances. The guy is a veteran, and he knows what he's doing. The guy could sell like a mofo. Ring awareness, and if he wants to get people over, he wants to get you over. Drew McIntyre does 3 Claymore kicks. But what doesn't he do? And Brock Lesnar picks up on it and he says, pick up the damn belt. Pick up the belt. And guess what Drew McIntyre did? He picked up the belt. The kid listened to the veteran. The veteran knows what elicits a reaction. He knows what he has to do in the ring, in the match, to make himself look good and make his opponent look good. Have you heard of him hurting anyone? Can't say I have. Can't say I have. He knows how to do the little things. And that means so much. So much, you know, just that little nuance got the crowd that much more. Did the crowd give him a reaction and a pop just by holding up the belt? And you know who you could thank for that? Brock Lesnar. So he's a man, he's a student of the game. So you might say, oh, he does not like wrestling, he just likes the money. If he does not like wrestling, if he does not even enjoy it one bit, does not like wrestling, then getting bruised up, getting banged up is kind of silly. Just knocking your body around, bruises for something you don't enjoy really makes no sense to me. A ring general in Brock Lesnar. Why is he not given credit? Listen, being with Paul Heyman has definitely rubbed off on Brock Lesnar. Definitely has. So, listen, by the way, again, I'll say it. I said it once, I'll say it again. If we could get that contract that Brock Lesnar has, we'd all get it. And, Brock Lesnar is intimidating. There is no one else that is as intimidating as a Brock Lesnar right now. Part-time, partial time, less than half time, Brock Lesnar still has his worth. And good move, good heads-up move by Brock Lesnar. MJF made a mainstream media news, ladies and gentlemen, it was at an autograph session last week, just made the news this week, and he flipped off a 7-year-old kid, showing the 7-year-old kid the middle finger. This is a guy, MJF. Now, I believe the talk here, the speculation here, was the father knew that this is MJF, this is his character, so on and so forth. He really didn't get too bent out of shape. But the kid who got the middle finger was upset by it. And you gotta give, whether you agree with the opinion or not, you gotta give Cody Rhodes really didn't back down. He said, that this was entertainment, that's something to the effect of that the people, the stars at the autograph signing were, part of the character. It's who they are. This is their work. It's who they are on TV is what you've seen in person there. And then I believe Cody Rhodes also said, come, we'll give you tickets to an upcoming show. You can come backstage. We'll make it right, I believe. It's something to that effect. I don't know. I think that might have been even Tony Khan that said that. Listen, you got to give kudos to MJF for keeping the character. The character is real to him. Staying in character, keeping kayfabe alive. Kind of similar to you hear stories from I think it was even I believe it was the Monday night from Steve Austin. On the WWE Network, it was Broken Skull interviews, and Stone Cold was interviewing The Undertaker, and The Undertaker says, to keep the gimmick alive, he would always wear black, and, people would question, are you really dead? Are you the dead man? things to that. So he was very protective for many years of the character, and that has changed recently, as now all of a sudden, you see the character on, Undertaker have Twitter. How does a dead man have Twitter, right? But, MJF's sticking to his, keeping the character alive. And he's a dirty heel. I mean, years ago, you think of Ted DiBiase back in the day, the vignettes, or the kind of the segment where he would, let's say, for a kid, where he would, I think there was a segment one time, if I remember correctly, where he would say he would give a kid, I don't know, X amount of money if he was able to dribble the ball without, in a repetitive manner for X amount of times. And the kid is dribbling the ball, and then all of a sudden, DiBiase just kicks it. So, it's things like that, like a dirty heel. He reminds me, MJF, of a DiBiase. And then, actually, MJF, when he was like, after he got this mainstream attention, when he was asked to comment, he said, F those kids. I respect trying to keep the character alive. That's something that's not done anymore. You had the Bella twins in a feud years ago, where one Bella twin says to the other Bella twin, I think it was Nikki, said to Brie, I wish you would have died in the womb. And then, the next day, there they are drinking mojitos together on social media, taking pictures. So MJF is keeping that character. All the interviews that you've seen, he it's nothing different. He stays in character. But, would you have flipped off the kid? A 7-year-old kid, nonetheless. Right? The 7-year-old kid, it seemed like you already knew what that meant anyway. But if a 7-year-old kid, gets thrown the finger, and then he asks, Mommy, Daddy, what does the middle finger mean? And then Mommy, Daddy don't want to say, and then he Googles it, what the middle finger means. Then it's like, why? Couldn't you have done something else possibly? Like, I don't know, when you're signing that autograph, write your mom is hot, or your dad is fat. Why do you have to direct something like that towards the kid? The kid is 7 years old. If it was like a teenager, I could almost see it, right? A teenager that's like going back and forth like a 15-year-old. Like, all right. Then it's like, okay. But a kid that, based on that video, just wasn't doing anything, was just being a kid. You give him the bird. If you want to keep the character, if you want to stay in character at all times, I get it. But there was something, maybe there could have been something else that you could have done, just for the fact of a 7-year-old. Still, that's an innocent kid, even at 7, right? Come on. You could have done something else. But MJF, man, quite the character. This past Monday night, fans were up in arms about Ricochet. Ricochet, all of a sudden, Ricochet now, and there's that word that people like to use. After Monday night, people were saying Ricochet is now buried. OMG, buried, burial, rest in peace, Ricochet. first of all, and this started after his loss to on Monday night to Riddick Moss. I believe it was Riddick Moss. And prior to that, in the Saudi show, Ricochet was pretty much annihilated, destroyed by Brock Lesnar. Now, first of all, everyone is saying, buried. Ask EC3 what the word buried means. Ask him ask him if he thinks that Ricochet is being buried. Internet, fans were saying no, that Ricochet was pissed at the end of Raw, like he's taking off his tape, throwing it down violently. Well, he just lost a match to Riddick Moss. How else are you supposed to react in storyline when you lose a match? Remember, Riddick Moss is just coming on your TV screen. Does anyone know really who Riddick Moss is on the main, the viewers know who Riddick Moss is. Why should they care about Riddick Moss? Well, Riddick Moss only defeated a guy like Mojo Rawley, pretty much. That's his only victory. And he is the 24/7 championship holder who, that title, for what it's become, it's just the chasing title, where what people do is they chase, they run after each other, and they never actually wrestle or defend the title. So now, being that chasing and running for the 24/7 championship has kind of worn its course, you need to kind of fix the title and change it. That way it mean something more. It's no longer an afterthought. So, if you have a champion like Riddick Moss, who people do not know, Mr. Riddick Moss carrying a title that's considered to be a joke or forgotten about, then, well, Mr. Riddick Moss needs a victory over someone credible. And wouldn't a Ricochet be considered credible? I mean, Ricochet did just have a world championship match against Brock Lesnar. And how did Ricochet get this opportunity? Didn't he win a gauntlet? Hasn't Ricochet in recent months defeated big guys twice his size, like Luke Gallows? I believe he also defeated a Eric Rowan, if I'm not mistaken, right? So he did defeat big guys. Now, I'm sure that was done by WWE's part to make Ricochet look a little bit more credible going up against Brock Lesnar. Okay, I get it. But still, they did that for Ricochet. And listen, Ricochet losing to Brock Lesnar, a man double, maybe even triple his size. Okay, I'm exaggerating, not triple his size, but double his size. There's nothing wrong about that. I mean, after all, your multiple-time tag champ, Kofi Kingston, who you may argue has, right now, as far as a canvas, has had a more sustainable, more successful career in Kofi Kingston than Ricochet. He also lost to Brock Lesnar in quite some time. very quickly. And, you will bounce back. Just because you lost 2 times in a row, you're not buried. You're still on TV. You're still getting TV time, national TV time. If you want to speak about buried, again, talk to EC3 and tell me what is the true definition of being buried. So all the Ricochet fans, let's just relax. Just a little bit. Shall we? Jake the Snake Roberts made his re-debut. Not re-debut, but he made his debut on AEW Dynamite. Music that he came out to. What a beautiful rip-off job of the original, kind of his original theme, right? Almost sounded identical. What does that tell you? After everything that Jake the Snake has been through, all the demons that he's been fighting, everything. And what, Jake the Snake now approaching, 70 years old? Is still has all his faculties, all his brain cells, is still able to deliver a coherent, a fantastic promo that none of the current roster, or very few of the current roster in both AEW, WWE, no one could cut a promo like Jake Roberts, still hitting it out of the park at 70 years old. Now, who will be the client for Jake Roberts? Jake Roberts saying that his client is coming. I think who it will be. Now, there's rumors and speculations now that Matt Hardy is officially a free agent. Who will it be? This is the way I see it unfolding. I think that Jake the Snake will be a mouthpiece. Obviously, that's what he's going to be here. And I think that this evil guy this client that's coming after Cody, I think that's going to be Vance Archer. Someone because Vance Archer really is not known that well. He was mostly overseas. I think you're going to have Brody Lee being the exalted one. Perfect that fits his look. I could definitely see Brody Lee being that. And I could see, if in fact Matt Hardy comes, which is still debatable, I could see Matt Hardy fighting the Exalted One and fighting Dak Rubin, that faction, right? But Jake the Snake, fantastic promo. Just some of those lines that he was throwing out. How about when you're saying at the end there, so much meaning when he said, when you turn I believe it was, if you turn your back on someone, it means you don't trust them. Or no, wait, never turn your back on someone who you respect, right? And he's turning his back to Cody Rhodes, flips the mic drop. Wow. Further along here, there was some rumors. It was actually fixed. There was a little buzz going around, going back and forth as to why this happened that way. But Miss Michelle Mccool was left off of a list. It was a list on WWE, kind of like the 50 greatest, in celebration of Women's Month, 50 greatest women's WWE championships. So what happened is, you had like Kairi Sane, and then you had Kairi Sane in another picture with Asuka, I believe it was, and then you had Asuka by herself in another picture. Then you had Alexa Bliss by herself when she was champion, and then Alexa Bliss with Nikki Cross when they were tag champs. So what we're getting at here is that there are a couple certain times with those in the 50 greatest women's champions where you had certain female athletes being shown more than once. And Michelle Mccool was a little bit perturbed why she was not on there. And listen, 9 times out of 10, it's just an intern behind the screen, behind the stage there. Not really in tune with their WWE history. You even had like people on the list like Bull Nakano, right? So 9 times out of 10, these are just interns just putting this together, and it really just a lot of articles, a lot of lists seem to just kind of, you scratch your head sometimes, and why ain't a person on there? It just seems to get past a lot of people. And what I think happened here is being that some women's athletes were in there more than once, maybe they thought that Michelle Mccool was already in there. No one double proofed it. No one double read it. Right? Oh, they're like, Michelle Mccool is not in here. I thought we would have put Michelle Mccool in here. We got so many athletes double. I thought we already had Michelle Mccool in there. I don't know. This is so big. I think it was just a common mistake. Really, nothing to worry about. I'm sure you don't want any heat with the Undertaker here. That's all for this week. I hope all is well, and I look forward to speaking to you guys very, very, very soon.